Good morning. Please sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Riya Dawdi,
Yes, sir.
you're from Delhi.
Yes, sir.
Tell us something about yourself.
Sir, my name is Riya Dabi. I was born in Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh, but I have been living most of my life in New Delhi. And I have done my BA in Political Science from Delhi University. And apart from that, I am a person who considers myself as hardworking, who likes to follow my goals and complete them on time. And I also like to do painting, so I also consider myself as a creative person.
What goals did you set for yourself?
So the goals for the daily life, for example, if we have to finish any task on time, what we have to study, what we have to do, how. So for example, while I was preparing for the civil services exam, so the daily dose of the whatever topics I had to cover in a day, how much time I had to allocate for my exercise, how much time I had to allocate for my rest, so and so on.
What is the difference between Delhi and New Delhi?
Sir, Delhi is considered as the national capital of the country, and New Delhi is considered as one of the constituencies or one of the districts of the city of Delhi. And it is also called as New Delhi because the part of Delhi which is called New Delhi, it is the administrative center of Delhi, which contains buildings such as the Parliament House, Rashtrapati Bhavan, the Supreme Court. So that is why there's a difference in the terminology because of that.
Is there a difference in administration?
No.
Delhi and New Delhi.
No, sir, there's no difference in administration. The Delhi government looks after the entire city of Delhi.
What is Delhi is known to have a three-tier administrative setup. Can you tell us the three tiers?
So I believe the three tiers would be first or the bottom level would be the district administration or the municipal level of Delhi. Second would be the elected government of Delhi, and third would be the central government because Delhi is a union territory.
Do you think Delhi deserves to be a full state?
So I believe that if Delhi is granted full statehood, then there can be certain advantages to that. For example, the Delhi government will be able to legislate on subjects such as land, public order and police, and the power tussle or the ambiguities in the relationship between the lieutenant governor and the Delhi government can be also resolved. And the Delhi government will also get more powers to look after bodies such as the MCD and the DDA. So I believe that granting Delhi full statehood can have certain advantages.
So why is Delhi not being granted full statehood?
So Delhi has not been granted full statehood because there have been some concerns. Because Delhi is a union territory, and the union government also has its jurisdiction here. It also works in Delhi since the Parliament, the Supreme Court, the Rashtrapati Bhavan, all these buildings are here. And there's also a sense of security which is required for Delhi becoming a union territory because these buildings and various embassies are also located here. So it is believed that if the union government looks after Delhi as a union territory, then there can be more law and order situation. It can be handled properly. There can be more sense of security as well.
Do you know something about the new IT rules?
The new IT rules, sir. Yes, sir. The IT rules 2000 have been amended, and the guidelines for the digital intermediaries and the digital media ethics code have been introduced.
Only for the digital media, or for some other media also?
Sir, for the social media intermediaries as well as for the over-the-top or the OTT platforms.
Who are the intermediaries and why are they called intermediaries?
Sir, I'm really sorry, sir. My mask, I don't know, it is falling down. Sir, the social media intermediaries are those platforms which showcase the information from other websites or other platforms on their own platform. For example, Google, Facebook, Twitter, and so on.
What is the core of the dispute between the government and Twitter?
Sir, the main dispute between them is that the government had issued these guidelines, and Twitter had to it had to also
Comply with them.
it had to give its monthly compliance report to the government. It also had to appoint compliance and a grievance redressal officer. So the interim officer was only appointed, and now he has also been removed. So because of these issues, there was a conflict.
What is the dispute regarding content?
Sir, the government feels that certain offensive content is sometimes posted on Twitter by the users, and Twitter sometimes is not able to look after such contents and put them down so that social media can be regulated. And because of this, fake news is also generated, and certain unfortunate events also happen. So because of that, there was a
Decide whether content should be removed or not. Twitter or the government?
Sir, I believe that both the government and the Twitter, both
You
the
can't have both. It has to be, somebody has to play the final arbiter. Yes, this content will be removed.
Sir, I believe the final arbiter has to be the government, because it will frame the laws according
What
to
about
the
freedom of
national.
speech?
Sir, freedom of speech is granted to Twitter, but there are certain restrictions also to such freedom, because there can be some unfortunate events if fake news is generated. There can be some violent incidents also. People also get motivated by such news. So freedom of speech and expression is granted to Twitter, but the main arbiter has to be the central government, so that Twitter also complies with the national laws.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Ria, according to you, how is the governance in India?
Sir, I believe that the governance in India is good at the moment. It has been gradually improving over the years, and it is looking after the needs of.
But how is it good? There is so much of poverty, there is so much of communal tensions, there is so much of unemployment, there is not even drinking water, and basics are not available to millions, and you are saying that the governance has been good?
Sir, I meant that there are certain problems, but the governance has been improving because poverty has been reduced. The facilities of drinking water, electricity are being provided to the
How
people
long?
gradually.
75 years. It will take you 75 years to give clean drinking water to every Indian.
Sir, I believe that we have a very large population and the resources are also limited. So I believe because of that it is a little difficult, but I still believe that the administration is trying to do its
No, but
best.
you
and
are
governance-
defending the government without, you are not even joined, you are defending it unnecessarily. Look at the communal tensions. All these cases are being slapped under UAPA against people. Is it done?
Sir, I believe that cases are being registered for communal violence, but under the UAPA law. But then there are review mechanisms and judicial mechanisms also, where the cases are then analyzed and then the.
Achha, tell me, okay, you first tell me about left-wing extremism. When it started, from where it started, what is their objective, what is the situation? Just give me an overview.
Okay,
And after that, you must tell me why I have not been able to sort it out for decades. Yeah, first tell me about left-wing extremism, please.
So left-wing extremism is mainly associated with the events which took place in 1967 in the Naxalbari district of West Bengal, wherein the people people tried to snatch away the lands of the various zamindars and the rich people living there, because they believed that they had been denied of the resources for a long time. So violent incident took place, and from that left-wing extremism originated, and it spread to various
Is it
states.
justified? Is it
Uh,
justified snatching lands of others? You just said. Indulging in violence, is it justified?
No, sir. In my view, it is not justified, because violence is never the answer, and snatching away the land is also not right.
So tell me then, okay, go ahead. Then after 67, what happened all these years? What is their motive? They are still continuing. Where are they? Where are they very active these days?
Sir, now it has spread to various states such as Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and Madhya Pradesh. These are known as the red districts of the red states of the country. And now the motive is mainly to get their rights over the resources which they believe have been taken over by the government. They have not been given the adequate resources such as land, water, and electricity.
So why have
So,
they not been given? Why has the government failed?
Sir, they have been given, and the people living in these states have also been given the resources, but now it has taken an extremist kind of stance. So these people are using violence, or taking arms and weapons, also using guerrilla warfare to attack the armed forces of the nation.
It has been decades now, and the problem is simmering. Why do you think government has not been able to sort it out?
Sir, I believe the government has not been able to sort it out fully, because the left-wing extremist groups, they are mainly operating from the remote regions, which have
So
a very
then what?
difficult.
If you are operating from a remote region in your country, can't the government have control over remote regions? This
Yes.
is no argument.
Sir, I believe that they are operating from these remote regions, so there is a difficulty in reaching the terrain. And I also believe that these people are now, they do not have a consistent set of activities over a period of time, so it is difficult to track and anticipate also when such events will take
But
place.
does it speak well of the governance of a country that here is a problem for almost 6 decades and you are unable to solve it?
Yes, sir, it is certainly a problem related to governance.
And you are saying governance is good?
Sir, I meant that governance is gradually improving in other areas, but certainly there are problems such as left-wing extremism.
Acha, can you give me the landmarks in India's foreign policy since independence, please?
Sir, I believe the landmarks in India's foreign policy can be, first of all, the non-alignment policy, or the non-aligned movement during the Cold War, when India did not side with either of the two blocs. It was a very important and significant policy. And after that, I believe there have been other great policies also, such as the Gujarat Doctrine of non-reciprocity to improve relations with India's neighbors. Then there has been the policy of Look East, which has now become Act East, to improve relations with the Southeast Asian countries, especially the members of ASEAN. Then recently also the policies such as Neighborhood First policy, Sagar Doctrine, and Free, Open, and Inclusive Indo-Pacific. These policies have also been significant in international relations.
How many people have been vaccinated in India as on date?
Sir, around I think 4.4% of the population has been fully vaccinated.
How much does it come to numbers?
I'm sorry, sir, I do not know the exact
don't know.
numbers.
Okay, my last question to you is that supposing you were selected in the IPS and you were DCP of the northeastern Delhi where riots took place last year. If a similar thing happens and you get information in your office that at place X in your jurisdiction there are people who are indulging in violence, throwing petrol bombs, burning buses, shops, injuring people, what action will you take?
So I think my foremost action would be to send the police forces to the spot so that the violence can be stemmed right at that time.
So what will be
And-
done? What will be done to stem the violence?
So the people would have to be told that this is not right, and they would have to be sent back, and there should be vigilance on that site for at least.
So you will tell people to go back, and do you think these people will go back who are already mad? And if they don't go back, then what do you do?
Sir, first of all, we have to negotiate with the people, or at least try to convince them. But if that does not work, then the police will have to use some sort of force, or the tear gas, which is often used to send back the people or to disperse the crowds.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Ria, you are a student of political science
Yes, sir.
and IR. Good. Can you tell me something about what are the reasons all of a sudden this Chinese army intruded in our territory in East Ladakh?
Sir, I believe there were several reasons behind the Chinese incursion there. First of all, I believe that because of the whole COVID-19 pandemic situation going on, many experts also pointed out that China was trying to showcase its power, that it is still powerful in spite of this. And because of this, it tried to showcase its power in Ladakh also, as it did in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, in South China Sea. And secondly, I believe, sir, that
they didn't enter the Taiwan. They entered only India territory. Why so?
Because the Ladakh is also strategic location for China, because it is very near to
But
the.
point is, why now? Why not earlier? And why did they enter at all? What can be the reasons?
Sir, it happened very recently also in the context of closeness between US and India, especially when the US and China ties are at their lowest point because of various reasons. So because of this closeness also, China wanted to showcase that it is still India's neighbor, and it also has power, especially in the context of armed forces.
Okay. What is liberal democracy?
I'm sorry, sir.
Liberal democracy.
Sir, liberal democracy would mean a form of government which is based on the concept of popular sovereignty, wherein the people have universal adult franchise, and they can vote for
No, why it is called liberal?
Sir,
Democracy I can understand. Democracy you also know. Why we have to put this word liberal before it?
Sir, I believe the word liberal can be put in liberal democracy, which is deriving its principles from liberalism, wherein the people have various rights, such as forming various groups, freedom of speech and expression, right to property, and the state will exist in such a form which is mainly looking after the welfare of the people. And
Okay. Any other kind of democracy is there? Since we have liberal democracy, so what other kinds of democracy is there?
So I believe that there can be democracy based on other ideologies also, such as feminist democracy, or social liberal democracy based on ideology of social liberal.
What is social democracy?
So what? Social liberal democracy.
Social democracy.
Social
Not liberal.
democracy.
Social democracy.
Sir, I believe social democracy can be understood as a concept where the importance is given to society, its culture and traditions, and people as a community can participate in a social democracy.
Okay. Now they say that something like socialism and communism. What is the difference between the two?
Sir, I believe that socialism is the ideology wherein it is believed that the means of production should be owned by everyone, by the community, and production should happen on the basis of means and not on the basis of greed, as opposed to capitalism. But communism is the form of society which the Marxists wanted or the socialists wanted to attain in the final stages. Wherein there is no class conflict, so it will be a classless society, and the state will also be not required. So it will become a classless and a stateless
So in
society.
socialism, there will be a class struggle.
Yes, sir. There will initially be a class struggle because first of all, the
When
workers
the
or
means
the
of productions are with the state, then there is no scope for class struggle.
sir, in the means of transition to a socialist society, there can be a class struggle because first the workers have to take over the means of production from the capitalists. Then after communism can be achieved in the later stages.
Okay, you have a hobby of reading. Which
Yes.
is the book you have read latest?
Sir, I read Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie.
And what did you learn out of it? Any lesson?
Sir, I believe the lesson I learned was that the detective in that book, Hercule Poirot, he always uses order and method to solve the cases. He looks at the facts of the cases very accurately. So I believe that this can also be applied in real life, where if we have to achieve our goals, we have to solve any problems, we also have to look at all the facts and then calmly think of a solution.
We should look into the facts.
So the facts, what are the
But
circumstances?
sometimes circumstances become more important than facts. What is your opinion about it?
Yes, sir. Sometimes facts and sometimes circumstances. It will be subjective. It will be depend on the
Okay, you
situation.
are in Delhi.
Yes.
And what is Mohalla Clinic and what are the services it provides?
Uh,
Just name them in short.
Sir, Mohalla Clinic was a policy introduced by the Delhi government to open the small medical clinics in the various localities and the neighborhoods, and to provide affordable healthcare to the people. For example,
What are the
for-
services? Just name the services.
for the regular health checkups, for giving any medicines, or for vaccination of the children, and for I'm sorry, sir, I do not know all the services.
Okay, new education policy. Is there anything in this which will change the education sector drastically?
Sir, I believe there are some things in the national education policy which can drastically change. First of all, it will have a funding of 6% of the GDP for the education sector. So financing will
Okay,
change.
next.
Next, it can transform the school education because it will focus on foundational literacy, numeracy,
Right.
also
Next.
on skill education.
Just to name the points.
Sir, on skill education, and also on the training of the teachers, and learning of the classical arts and the languages. So I think that can help to change the education sector.
Okay, last I will give you a small situation.
Okay, sir.
And in this situation, there are 3 children. First child has made a flute, but he cannot play it. He knows only how to make it. Second child knows how to play it, but doesn't know how to make it. And there is a third child from an economic weaker sections, and this child doesn't know how to make it or play it. So, but this third child, he says that I need a toy, so this flute he claims. And second child says that I only can play it, so it should be given to me. First child says that I have made it, so it should be mine. There is a dispute among 3. They come to you, you are the judge. If you have to give to one child, to whom would you like to give it?
Sir, I believe the child who can play it should be given the flute because he can make a use of it.
Second child.
Sorry, yes, sir, the
Thank
second.
you. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Prudel ji.
Well, Ms. Ria Dabi,
Yes, sir.
you're a very bright student.
Thank you, sir.
During your introductory remarks, you were telling us about Delhi and you said something about the embassies being also located here in New Delhi. Now, tell me, why does the United States have an embassy? Russia has an embassy. China has an embassy, France has an embassy, Germany has an embassy, but Bangladesh has a high commission.
Sir, I do not know the exact reason, but maybe because it is, I mean, these countries are very big powers in the world, and maybe Bangladesh is a neighboring country, so maybe that's why it does not have an embassy. I do not know the exact reason. I'm sorry.
You don't know the reason at all.
No, sir.
Because Bangladesh is a member of the Commonwealth.
Okay.
And Commonwealth countries have high commissions in each other's countries.
Okay, sir.
Now, can you name some other countries which have high commissions in Delhi?
Sir, maybe Australia, Maldives can have high commission. I'm not sure, sir. I'm
What about the United Kingdom, where the Commonwealth is headquarters?
Yes.
What is the Commonwealth?
So the Commonwealth is a group of countries which were under the colonial rule of the British. So after independence, they formed a grouping in order to cooperate with each other on various issues.
All right. Now, you have said that your first preference is the IAS.
Yes, sir.
Now, which state is your first preference in the country?
So my first preference is the state of Rajasthan.
Now, have you read about the state of Rajasthan? I would like to know from you a few small details. How many districts are there in Rajasthan?
I'm sorry, sir, I do not know
How
exactly.
many divisions are there? Because if you serve in the IAS, you could be a commissioner someday. How many divisions are there? How many seats does Rajasthan have in the Lok Sabha? How many in the Rajya Sabha? Okay, Rajasthan is the largest state in the country in terms of area.
Yes,
Where
sir.
does it rank in terms of population?
Sorry,
You don't
sir,
know.
I do not.
Now, your second career preference is the foreign service.
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Now, India is a member of some important groupings. One of them is G20. Can you tell me where is the next G20 summit going to be held and when?
Sir, I believe it is going to be held in Saudi Arabia in 2022, and then the next summit in India in 2023.
Now, Saudi Arabia, it was already held in 2020. Last year, there was a virtual G20 summit. But now coming to 2021, where is it going to be held?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall.
So you don't even know when it is going to be held.
Sir, this year. Sir, this year.
But dates?
Dates, sir.
And you said 2022 it will be held in Saudi Arabia. No, 2022 will be Indonesia.
Indonesia. Okay, sir. Thank you.
It will be held now in Italy, 30-31 October.
Okay, sir.
Now, can you tell me why was the G20 set up? What is its main objective?
Sir, the G20 was mainly set up because there are various middle income or high income economies which are not part of the G7 grouping. So these countries came together in order to look after the needs of these countries, to reform the economic system, and to also work on multilateralism, because many of the international economic institutions are mainly controlled by the G7 countries or the Western countries. So because of these reasons, the G20 grouping was formed.
How many countries are members of the G20?
So 20 countries.
You're wrong, 19. Which is the 20th member? Is the European Union. Okay, let's talk about some other institutions of which India is a member. India is a part of BIMSTEC.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me the full form of BIMSTEC?
Yes, sir. The full form of BIMSTEC is Bay of Bengal Initiative for multi-sectoral, technical and economic cooperation.
Now, from India's point of view, tell me 3 main advantages of being in BIMSTEC? What are the objectives?
Sir, the three advantages for India for being part of BIMSTEC can be that it will the countries can cooperate with each other in the Bay of Bengal region and in the larger Indian Ocean region, wherein because of the languishing nature of SAARC, so BIMSTEC can provide a refreshing approach for India. And also these countries can work on issues such as countering terrorism, improving the connectivity and the trade, improving the people-to-people ties as well. And BIMSTEC can also serve as a platform to counter China's influence in India's neighborhood.
All right. My last question.
Yes, sir.
You spoke about SAARC being in limbo or being language. Which countries are members of SAARC but are not members of BIMSTEC?
Sir, I believe Afghanistan is not a member of BIMSTEC, and Sir, Sri Lanka is also not.
Are you sure?
No, sorry, sir. Sri Lanka is a part of BIMSTEC.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
think-
Chan.
So much, Ms. Ria.
Thank you,
Our
sir.
discussion with you is over.
Thank you,
So
sir.
kindly wait for a few minutes. We'll call you for feedback.
Okay. Thank you, sir.